the play where Kupp ran it in last week against Arizona, was that the same play in the Super Bowl that you guys ran on 4th and short? I know it was to a different side of the field, but I'm just wondering, was that the play?
Not the exact same, but a similar type play, yes. And it had a little bit of a different feel to it. We run so many of those motions and just kind of pick and choose our spots to hand those off when we feel like we get an advantage. And really, the guys on the outside executed it really well. It was a great scheme with a little bit of a different feel to it for the defense, from our coaching staff. And then obviously Cooper did a great job of executing it. All I did was just run the 200-meter, nice little slow curve, and get in the front pylon.
I asked him this prior to the home opener, on Westwood 1 in the same spot that we're talking right here prior to your Monday night game. And I asked him about that play because you had kind of given me a little bit of a heads up on it when you were on the NFL Network set prior to the schedule release show, when you were kind enough to be the guest to kick that all off. And he gave me his perspective on how that play was born and almost never happened, and then obviously got uncorked at the biggest moment of your lives and careers on a football field. Can you walk me through your perspective on that big 4th and short play, Matthew?
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of hours put into that play, and some of them prettier than others. There were some attempts in practice that didn't go our way. We're trying to figure out, hey, are we going to be on my cadence? Are we going to be on the silent cadence? Are we going to be this, that, and the other, and just trying to figure that out, time it out as well as we possibly could. Coop and I spent a bunch of time talking about it, and came to Sean and we're like, hey, we feel really confident that if you call this thing, we'll be able to get the thing done. And the timing and the feel of that play that we were able to get done really helped, and obviously in a huge moment in a big game.
Did McVay at one point say, because Kupp made it sound like McVay's like, forget it, you guys aren't going to get it, let's just take this out of the playbook and forget it? Did that happen?
Yeah, there's points in the week sometimes where he's like, hey, let's save this, shelve this for another time. We got plenty of other good stuff, and that's part of being a great coach too, is knowing when to pare down and then when to trust your players, and he's got a great feel for that, and he was able to trust us on that one, and it was one that he felt strongly about. We just needed to find out how we were going to execute it the right way to make it come to life. And once we figured out how to execute it the best way, it worked out for us.
Yeah. And so what was it like from your perspective then for him to then, after that whole play's birth and then very, I guess, choppy maturity, to get that call in your headset, let's do that one at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, I had a feeling it was going to be a short yardage call in the game. I didn't know it was going to be 4th and 1 on our own side of the 50 in the final minutes, but it worked out. That's part of what makes him great, is his ability to trust his gut in those situations, and trust us players to go out there and execute it. And we were able to get it done. And it makes all those hours and all that time you put in working on something, when it comes to life like that in a big moment, it makes it all worth it.
So when I spoke to Cooper as well earlier this year, I asked him, since I knew you wouldn't, pound your chest a little bit about what winning the Super Bowl meant to you in your career, I asked him to speak for you, and he did. By the way, he spoke very kindly of you. So I'll now ask you about him. He won't pound his chest too, but a kid from Eastern Washington, nobody really thought could amount to much collegiately, let alone professionally, is now a Super Bowl MVP, and a guy who is a Triple Crown winner, and not your first, by the way, professionally, to be on the throwing end of it. What about Kupp and what he's become and your relationship with him, Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, I've spent as much time with him as I have probably any teammate in my career. I have unbelievable admiration and respect for how he goes about his daily business, the way he carries himself as a teammate and as a player. He's ultra talented. People kind of want to look at all the other things that he does so well, whether it be the blocking or the teammate stuff or this, that, and the other, and forget to look at who he is as an actual athlete. And that's a pretty special athlete as well. Mm-hmm. But as far as his career goes, there's so much more out in front of him. To be able to get this done at this early stage in his career, I was just happy to be a part of it. I enjoy going to work every single day, working with all these great teammates that I have, but really enjoy working with him.
Sure.
And those days, however many, we have left, playing together, it's going to be, an enjoyable one for me. So I'm just proud to be a part of it.
And I'll ask this, even though their games are obviously in styles different, any similarities with Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp? from your perspective, Matt?
Two of the hardest workers I've ever been around. Two of the guys that just competed with or without the football as good as anybody I've been around, and frankly, pretty similar guys when it comes to who they are off the field. Really humble guys, come from really great backgrounds where hard work, dedication, being a great teammate are all those core fundamentals that were instilled in them by their parents, and just continue to show up week in and week out, whether it be in high school, college, or pro football. So lucky to be a part of both those guys' careers. Loved getting the chance to work with both of them. And obviously have quite a bit more left with Coop.